All right. Now, in next 2 hours, we are going to do entirely completion and review. What will be the sequence of our, overview of this, like not the overview, the completion sequence for this chapter. First, we will do 450, then 260, then 265, then 560, 570, and 580. And you have to understand why I'm saying that logically. Because under chapter 4, you have obtained certain audit evidences. Exactly that has happened with you. Now you will evaluate those audit evidences. When you have evaluated the audit evidences, you will find the misstatement or you won't find the misstatement. If you find the misstatement, you have to determine whether that misstatement is material. Are you clear? What will you ensure? Whether that misstatement is material. Because in general in audit, we are not going to comment on every single misstatement. We are only giving opinion on the whether the financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement. So you will compare that misstatement with the SA 320 materiality and determine whether it is material or not. If it is material, you will call up the client and tell client, you will have to correct this misstatement immediately. Otherwise, I will take its impact in the audit opinion. Yes. In that journey, you may also find that there are certain misstatements which are just too trivial. And you are like, you don't want to talk to the client about those trivial misstatements. So those trivial misstatements you will exclude by yourself. I'll tell you where. There is a topic in 450 which talks about the accumulation of misstatement identified. But before that, let me talk to you about the scope. What is your scope under 450? The scope talks about your responsibility to evaluate the effect of misstatement on an audit and uncorrected misstatement. Both. What did I tell you? Effect of identified misstatement in audit and the effect of uncorrected misstatement. Are we clear, guys? Then you start to accumulate all the misstatements identified during the audit. But in this process, please exclude the misstatement which you consider as trivial right away. Right? Now, other than those, accumulate everything. Now, when you have accumulated those misstatements during the process, what will be your first question? If you feel that this is material and this is not trivial, your first question will be, do I need to change my overall audit strategy or audit plan? Because initially I did not consider this to be this material. So I applied my procedure only on certain samples. Now the kind of misstatement that I get, I am not even comfortable with my overall audit strategy. I might need to change that. When you will feel that, you will feel the need of changing your overall audit strategy and audit plan when the nature of identified statement and the circumstances of their occurrence indicate that other misstatement may also exist, which could be material, or and the aggregate misstatement accumulated during the audit approaches the materiality as determined in 320. Are you able to recall this concept, everyone? Please request the management to examine. Whenever you accumulated the misstatement, please call up the management and tell them, management, please understand why these misstatements are occurring. Do the root cause analysis. Right? And whenever you are, remember, there is a concept of projecting misstatement as a 530 that you applies the unitary method. Like for example, if you check 500 transaction and you found certain misstatement, you will apply the same percentage to the whole population to identify or to project how much of the misstatement could have been there in the whole population. So on the basis of that projection, you will call up the client and tell the client, I am projecting this many misstatements are there in the population. Please understand the cause of that misstatement and correct it. Right? So there is a topic of communication and correction of misstatement in your books, which says auditors shall communicate on a timely basis all the misstatements accumulated. You should not wait until the end of audit to communicate all the misstatement, because they also need time for the root cause analysis and for correcting it. If the management refuses to correct some or all the misstatement, understand the reason for the refusal. Right? Evaluate the effect of uncorrected misstatement. Client, now your management said, okay, I will correct the misstatement, but these are the 5 misstatement that I am not going to correct it. Who said? Your client said. Now you have to evaluate the effect of that uncorrected misstatement. Prior to evaluating the effect, the auditor shall reassess the materiality determined as per SA 320. Please remember when I'm saying this. Prior to evaluation of the effect of uncorrected misstatement, you will always reassess your materiality as per 320. And when you feel that these uncorrected misstatements are material, you shall consider the size and the nature of the misstatement both in relation to the class of transaction, account balance and disclosure, and particular circumstances of their occurrence. Also consider the effect of that uncorrected misstatement related to prior period. Please understand, you will not remember this in this exam if you don't follow me properly. What did I say? When you're evaluating the effect of uncorrected misstatement, you have to consider the size and the nature of that misstatement. And second, the effect of uncorrected misstatement that you have identified in the prior period. There will be some uncorrected misstatement from the last audit also. Consider that impact. Now call up the TCWG and tell TCWG that TCWG, your management is not correcting these misstatements. And tell what is going to be its effect in your audit report, unless you are prohibited by the law or regulation to do so. And also communicate the effect of prior period uncorrected misstatement in your audit. Can you do that? Now you call the management again. After doing all of that, you call the management again and tell the management, okay, I understand you said that you will not correct them as a statement because you consider them immaterial. Can you give this to me in writing that you are considering those misstatements to be immaterial? And whenever you are giving me the written representation, can you also attach the list of all those misstatements that you are not considering them as material? Right? And then do your documentation. How will you do the documentation? Remember, there is something that you yourself called as trivial misstatement and you left it in the beginning. Document what you call them as a trivial. Then what are the misstatement that the client has corrected? Document it. What are those misstatement which the client is not correcting it? Uncorrect, document that as well. And the basis of the conclusion. Are we clear with the 450? That's all is there in your 450. What do you say, guys? Are you able to recall everything? Now
Yes, ma'am.
let's go to 260.
Ma'am, do we have the question as per the essay? Like, is the question segregated as per the essay? Can we do the questions now so that it will be easy?
Okay, let's do that. Just give me a moment. See this question. Discuss the documentation requirement for auditor regarding the misstatement identified during the audit. What are the 3 things you will document? Trivial, corrected misstatement, uncorrected misstatements. Easy? No. No. Question number 27. CA PK Jacob is conducting the audit of a company for the financial year 21-22. The company is engaged in export of ethnic rugs to buyers in Europe. The audit is nearing completion in the month of July 2022. However, it becomes known to the auditor that the overseas buyer has made a legal claim against the company on 1st June 2022 for injury caused to a customer one of the European buyer due to substandard dyes used in the management has decided to agree. No, I think this is the question of your 560 only. Don't have more question on this. That was not the question. Actually, this is a question. See, you are nearing completion of audit of the company. On going through your working papers, it is noticed that finished goods was overvalued by 2 CR. Now, in this question, nowhere they have mentioned that this is a question of 450. You have to understand that you are approaching the completion of the audit and you notice that the inventory was overvalued by 2 CR. It has been noticed that the freight of rupees 10 lakh paid on the import of machinery was charged to the statement of P&L. Discuss how would you proceed and communicate in the above situation before signing the audit report. Right? So as per SA 450, evaluation of the identified misstatement during the audit. The auditor should communicate the identified misstatement with the management and where appropriate with the TCWG and request them to correct the misstatement and also investigate as to the cause of the occurrence. If the management refuses to correct the misstatement, understand the reason for not correcting and also consider reassessing the materiality as determined previously as per SA 320. Auditor shall also determine whether the uncorrected misstatement are material individually or in aggregate and communicate with TCWG along with the effect of such uncorrected misstatement in the audit report. Auditor shall also obtain WR from the management if they believe that the uncorrected misstatement are immaterial and also attach the list of uncorrected misstatement to the WR. Can you please spend some time and write this answer?
Shouldn't we write that they must also communicate with the TCWG about the misstatements related to the prior period?
No, but this question was not including any misstatement in the prior period. No, so this is they are
No,
not.
ma'am, but that also forms part of communicating matters to the
No, see,
TCWG.
whenever there is a case-based answer, you're not supposed to write the generic solution. So that is a generic procedure. So had they asked you normally what should communicate in general without a case scenario, then you write about the prior period item. Otherwise, you will end up writing extra answer for that. That is. Make sense? Do you want to write this or you will be comfortable writing this on your own? How do you say?
Writing on our own. Like just 2 minutes for the revision. We'll revise this.
You want to write it? No.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you the time. Please write everyone. Now, in MTP 24, MTP March 24, there is another question. It starts with the name of Prudent Enterprises. I'll tell you, the question was the company has done some of the CSR expenditure and they have not done the CSR expenditure as per the law regulation. There is a misstatement that you have identified. This answer is completely same to this. But the way they have framed this question, it is the evaluation of misstatement that you have to do that misstatement was for the non-compliance of particular law or accounting standard in that matter. So the answer will remain same and you can expect such kind of questions only from 450. There are no more questions on that. But this is MTP March 24 if you see anywhere. I am going to cover anyway all the MTP questions of last year and this year. In the coming session, I will cover that. But just know that you already know the answer of that question. Done? Okay. Shall we go to 260 now? Now, when you do the questions on essay 260, let me tell you this. When you go to the questions of essay 260, there are certain things that they are going to emphasize on if they ask the question. First, why two-way communication is important. That is your base of this entire standard. Then they will ask you a question, what is your objective when you communicate with 260? Okay, that is the easiest question. But the question here comes, what are the matters are you going to communicate to TCWG? So there are 5 matters that you communicate to the TCWG. Okay, we will understand that. And then how do you determine what will be your communication process, how adequate your communication process is going to be there, and what is the documentation needed. But adequacy and the communication process is still exam oriented question, but the documentation is not. I'll teach you everything. First, the question here is why the communication is important and effective two-way communication. It should not be the case that you are only communicating and they are not replying to you. So first of all, please understand, it will help you and the client to have a constructive working relationship. Please repeat this word, constructive working relationship. And while you are maintaining that constructive working relationship with the client TCWG, you will also have to maintain your independence and objectivity. And why are you ensuring the two-way effective communication? Because you may get some information from the TCWG which you did not have previously while you were understanding the entity and its environment. Not just that, they can also provide you the source of audit evidence. See, better so, finding the best source of audit evidence is a game because you want to obtain the sufficient and appropriate audit evidence in less time. So talk to TCWG. They can highlight you some certain sources of audit evidences, right? Now they can also provide provide you information regarding a specific transaction. And the third point, you will say that TCWG, it will also help the TCWG in fulfilling their responsibility to oversee the financial reporting process. Will you be able to remember these three lines? This is the specific 3 marks question that you will have to write. First, it will help you construct a working relationship. While you are doing that, you will also have to maintain your independence and your objectivity. Second, it will help you obtain the information that you did not have the entity about the entity previously. And second, it will help you find the best source of audit evidences, and it will give you information about the specific transaction. And last, it will help you fulfill the responsibility to oversee the financial reporting process. First, you have to understand who are those charged with governance. It can be the board of directors, partners, proprietors, and the trustees. What is your scope? It deals with your responsibility to communicate with TCWG in an audit of financial state. TCWG. What is your objective when you are communicating? You have 4 objectives. First, you have to communicate clearly your responsibilities during the audit, and when you are telling them about your responsibility, you will also tell them about the scope of audit and the timing of audit. Then you will obtain certain information from those governance people. And third, you will also communicate all your observations, significant observations on the timely manner, which are most relevant for the TCWG to fulfill their own financial reporting process. And last, you will promote the effective two-way communication between the auditor and TCWG. Please understand one thing. TCWG in every organization has to oversee the financial reporting process. Even though they will not make the financial statement by themselves, it is to be done by the management, but they have to oversee the financial reporting process. So whenever you go to the client place, do not communicate with every other person. Communicate with appropriate TCWG. Because there can be 15 people in the TCWG. Find out those 2 people who are actually looking after the financial reporting process, and the audit process. Don't communicate with everyone, because not everybody is going to look after the audit. They have the actual business to do. Now, the point here is, what are the matters that you are going to communicate? So first, you will communicate about your responsibilities, which will include you. You will tell them, see, my responsibility is to form and express an opinion on the financial statement, which is to be prepared by you and your management. Second, you will tell them that me auditing the financial statement is not going to relieve you from your responsibilities of preparing the financial statement and overseeing the financial reporting process. Then you will communicate with them the planned scope and timing of the audit, and along with that, any significant risk identified during the audit. Are you comfortable so far? The most important question from SA 260, what are the significant findings that you are going to communicate with TCWG? The third point is significant findings. Significant findings have only 5 points. First, you will tell them about the qualitative aspects of their accounting practice. So first, you will give your views about the qualitative aspect of their accounting practices, accounting policies, estimates, and disclosure. You will also tell them if you have faced any significant difficulty during the audit, that is, the client has delayed in providing the data, they gave you very unnecessary brief time to complete the audit. Please tell the TCWG. Tell them the significant matters that arose during the audit about the fraud, non-compliances related party. Then whatever written representation you are requesting, tell TCWG about that. Circumstances that affect the form and content of auditor's report, please also tell them about that, and balancing figure any other significant matters relating to their financial reporting process. Are you able to connect to these points, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
We have a question related to this in your books. Now, please make sure you're also communicating about your independence in case you're doing the audit of a listed company. So give them the statement that your engagement team and other in the firm have complied with the relevant ethical requirement, including independence as per SQC1, and all the relationship between the firm and the network has a bearing on independence. Tell them, like network firms. So for example, PwC is also part of a network firm. There are ultimate other firms who are into that network, right? So all the network, like not just your firm, your other people, other firms in your network are also independent. And if there is any threat to independence, what safeguard you have applied, please communicate that with TCWG. Well, how is going to be a communication process? It can be oral, written, detailed, summarized, structured, unstructured. You can communicate in writing with the TCWG regarding the significant findings when you feel that the oral communication is going to be inadequate. And you have to communicate with them on a timely basis. The point here is, how do you determine that the communication process is adequate? When there is a two-way effective communication for the purpose of audit. And if you feel that the communication is only one-sided, they are not replying to you, please consider its effect on the risk of material misstatement, your ability to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, and the appropriate action that you need to take accordingly. Are you clear, guys? Please document whatever communication you had with them orally, right? When did you have this communication, and with whom do you have this communication? If you had done the writing communication, please retain the copy of correspondence that you have made. Shall we see the question of 260, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Mira, can you tell me the page number, please?
7.9, ma'am.
Okay. The first question is, state the significant difficulties encountered during the audit as with reference to SA 260. This portion is not there in your syllabus. Now it is included in the CA final. But even if you want to remember, just know that if there is any delay from the client to give you the data, you will communicate with TCWG. If they are giving you unnecessary brief time to complete audit, please communicate with them. If extensive effort is required to obtain evidence, please communicate with TCWG. I told you why two-way effective communication is important. Can you please write this question? Two-way effective communication, role of communication. I told you, right, the three things. One, constructive relationship without compromising the independence and objectivity. Second, it will assist you under getting the information for understanding the entity, identifying appropriate source of audit evidence, and also providing information about the specific transaction. And last, assisting in fulfilling your responsibility to oversee the financial reporting process. They will get this help, not you. Another important question that I have told you for 570, sorry, 260. Why did I say 5? We don't have a question on significant difficulty, kya? What are you talking about? Guys, will you still write these, please? Even if we don't have the question, I want you to write this one time. The significant difficulties identified during the audit. This question, please. Significant find, it's not significant difficulty, significant findings during the audit. Now, let's go to the next standard, that is SA 265, right? Now, this question will have only 2 to 3 questions, but at least 7 standards are there, 565, 7, 6 standards are there in this chapter, right? Consider everything is as important, not like there is a limitation, they can't ask all the question, but still you be careful that you are studying all the standards. 265, communicating significant deficiencies in internal control with management and TCWG. See, who is responsible for applying? I have taught you SA 315, right? In the internal control process, who did you say will design, implement, and maintain the internal control? management with the oversight of TCWG. So do you really think that you can talk about internal control deficiencies only with the TCWG? The answer is no. It will not be effective. So communicate the deficiencies in the internal control that you have identified both with the management and TCWG. So SAT 265 deals with auditor responsibility to communicate appropriately to those charged with governance and management deficiencies in the internal control that auditor identified during the audit. What is your objective of an auditor in SA 265? It is to communicate appropriately to TCWG and management if you have identified any deficiencies in the internal control, and in your professional judgment, it requires the attention of both management and TCWG. What is meant by deficiency? That the controls which were required to prevent, detect, and correct the misstatement, either they are missing or they are there, but they are not able to prevent or detect or correct on a timely basis. Yes, that is the meaning of deficiency. My question is, there are certain matters, example of matters is given that auditor may consider in determining whether a deficiency and the combination thereof is a significant deficiency. Now guys, be very careful when you are reading this question because there are back-to-back two questions. And the students are mostly confused to identify which answer is to be written when. There are two questions. One, example of matters that auditor may consider in determining whether a deficiency is a significant deficiency. And second, example of indicators of significant deficiencies in the internal control. Very different answers. So first, I'll tell you indicator of significant deficiencies in the internal control. Remember, in SA 315, you are identifying the control process. When you identified the control process, you understood the component of internal control. How many component of internal controls are there? Total of 5. There are 5 component of internal control. The very first one is control environment. You found entity's control environment to be ineffective. Indicator of significant deficiency. What is the second component of internal control? Entity risk assessment process. Now you found that entity's risk assessment process itself is missing, or it is there but it is ineffective. Point 3. 3 points are covered from your component of internal control only. Then you found out in point 4 that entity identified significant risk. They did not even respond to it. They did not put any control for it. Absence of control over the risk. Risks are identified, but they are not putting any control. Ineffective response entity has. Point 5. You detected certain misstatement which was supposed to be detected by the entity's internal control. So then you are like, control is there, but how stupid is that in control that it is not even able to prevent and detect the misstatement? Rather, you detected that misstatement. Then 6th, you found certain misstatement that entity corrected in current year P&L in the name of prior period item as per AS5. Then you are like, obviously, no, that this is an indicator of deficiency. Why didn't you identify this misstatement last year only? And last, you found that the management is not able to oversee the preparation of financial statement. It is done by the accounting people only. Now, these are the indicator of significant deficiencies given in internal control, 7 points over here. But if the question is asked to you about the example of matter that may be considered by you whether a deficiency or the combination of deficiency internal control constitutes a legal deficiency. So first consider the volume, whether there is a deficiency and there is a huge volume of activity that has the exposure of that deficiency. For example, I tell you the rate of GST is incorrect, because of that the value of sales is calculated incorrectly, the gross value. What will happen? There are n number of sales transactions in a day. All of these transactions are exposed to deficiency. This is the example of matter. Are you able to understand first one? Second, there is a chances that entity's financial statement, there is a chances that this deficiency will be converted into misstatement in the financial statement. Or there is a chances that because of this deficiency, there will be loss or fraud in the entity's financial statement. Or there are chances that any of the financial statement amount are exposed to deficiency such as depreciation, If the useful life of a set entity cannot determine properly, that amount of depreciation will be calculated and the PPE WDV will be calculated incorrectly. Or if there is an accounting estimate whose estimation process is involving a lot of subjectivity and complexity. Come to point 7, it says you found the misstatement. And when you saw the root cause of it and the frequency of it, oh my God, that was crazy. That was occurring again and again, and even the root cause was crazy only. And the last, interaction of deficiency with other deficiency. For example, you found a deficiency in the control of bad debt. Then you are like, this bad debt are coming from the sales only. So if their controls at the sales are incorrect, like deficient, it is going to impact your debtors controls. There is a degree of interaction. I left one point because that is an important question. Whenever you are determining the example of those matter because of which any deficiency may be constituted as a significant deficiency, you have to give importance to the controls. Because if the entity is missing their general management control, monitoring control only, you will be like, no, this is a significant deficiency. Or if there is no control for the prevention and detection of fraud, or it is ineffective, you are like, no, this is significant deficiency. If the accounting policies are selected and applied in an incorrect manner, you will be like, no, I'm not happy. Again, there is a chance of significant deficiency. There are no controls over the related party transaction. There can be misstatement, no? Or there are no controls for the transaction which are outside the normal course of business. Again, a problematic statement. If during the year end, the entity is passing a lot of non-recurring journal entries, that's the provision for the liability, contingent liability or not. There are no control over the period and financial reporting process. This is again a sign of significant deficiency. I want all of you to write both these answers. Take out time now. Please write both these points as part of answer. When will you write what answer? 7 points for your indicator of significant deficiency, 8 points for your example of matter that a combination of deficiency may constitute as significant deficiency.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, डिटर्मिनेशन ऑफ सिग्निफिकेंट डेफिशिएंसीज इंटरनल कंट्रोल, ये एक छोटू सा टॉपिक है जो थोड़ी देर के लिए हम लाइक इग्नोर ही करने वाले हैं ये टॉपिक को. नाउ द पॉइंट हियर इज जो एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है, कम्युनिकेटिंग द डेफिशिएंसीज इंटरनल कंट्रोल विद टीसीडब्ल्यूजी. व्हेनेवर यू फील दैट द सिग्निफिकेंट डेफिशिएंसीज आर देयर, right, which require the management and TCWG's attention on a timely basis, you will discuss all of those in writing. If there are other deficiencies also which you feel that in your professional judgment require the attention of management, please discuss with them, no problem at all. And whenever you communicate in writing, at least ensure that you are giving a proper description along with the potential effect, if that is not corrected, of that deficiency, what is going to be its impact in the financial statement. Along with that, sufficient information for the TCWG and management to understand why you are calling that deficiency as a significant deficiency. Please also, in particular, you shall explain the purpose of audit. Okay, now this is a disclaimer thing. Whenever you are giving the significant deficiency to the management to understand, please tell them that we are not the internal auditor. We are not appointed here to express an opinion on the effectiveness of the internal control. We only check those controls which are relevant for the purpose of audit and which we think that it requires your attention. That is why we are telling this to you, but we are not the internal auditor. We did this only as part of our external audit process. Are we clear, guys? The two important questions that I felt that you should be writing, you have already written that. Can I go to essay 560 now? Now, essay 560 subsequent event, what is going to happen with you, I'll tell you. During your audit process, you had gone to the client place after 31st March. You are doing the audit of a finance. financial statement that ended on 31st March. Definitely, by the time you will finish your entire audit and prepare your audit report, there is going to be the time gap. It's not like you complete entity make the financial statement on 31st March and you complete the audit on 10th of April. It is going to take a good amount of 2 to 3 months for you to complete the audit. During that period, you might come across of any event that already existed on 31st March, and but you just came to know about that event after 31st March, but it is going to it is going to have any effect on the item that already existed on 31st March. For that, you already have a accounting standard, that is your AS4, event occurring after the balance sheet date. You consider whether it is an adjusting event, non-adjusting event, but entity does that. At the same time, you also have a responsibility over here. Identify all those events which occurred after the date of financial statement up to the date of audit report and which have impact on the financial statement. Please obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidences about that. And suppose that any event that come to your knowledge after the date of audit report, please respond appropriately to that fact. Now here will be 3 case scenarios in your life. One, certain event will come to your knowledge from the date of financial statement to the date of audit report. What did I tell you? There will be certain event that will happen from date of financial statement to date of audit report. Then there are certain facts that you will get to know from the date of audit report till date of financial statement issued to public. Then there are also chances that you get to know about the facts after date of financial statement issued to public. All you need in this standard is to identify how to deal with this matter, how to deal with this matter, how to deal with this matter. Yes. So suppose this is a case 1, where the event occurred from the date of balance financial statement to the date of audit report. How will you deal with this scenario? So in case of case 1, the nature, timing, and extent of audit procedure will be included over here is first obtain the understanding of the procedure through which management identified those events. Just call the management and try to understand, management, how did you identify those events, subsequent event which require the adjustment on 31st March? Then second, you ask management and TCWG the effect of such event on the financial is impact. It is going to impact the balance sheet, liability, assets, P&L account. But in order to do that, you also have to read the minutes of meeting held after the date of balance sheet date, so that you can identify what are the event, like is there any event that require adjustment on 31st March? And along with that, read if any interim financial statement are available. For example, for listed companies will compulsory make their financial statement for the month of April, May, June, that quarter. Read all of that. After you read all of that, you will come to know there are events that require adjustment on the date of financial statement. Right? What is your goal now? Once you have identified that events are there which require adjustment, please ensure whether these adjustments are appropriately reflected. And along with that, please obtain written representation from the management that management has identified all such event and already adjusted and disclosed in the financial statement. Now, these 3 questions I will make you write in the exam. So suppose this is case 1, please write what is the procedure over here. Take your time, and in case of case 1, please write what are the steps that I told you, starting from step 1 of obtaining understanding of the procedure through which management obtained the information, identified those events, that is point 1. Point 2, inquiring management. Point 3, reading MOM. Point 4, reading the latest information. Then along with that, you will determine whether the adjustment is done appropriately. And last, you will obtain the written representation. Now remember the case 2 where you got to know about that information after the date of audit report, but before the date of financial statement. Now there will be two things that will happen in your life. One, you have prepared the audit report, but it is still there in your computer, or you have already issued it to the client. Right? But if you have known to the fact, no, please remember this thing. Normally, when you already prepare the audit report, after that, there is no obligation for you to perform on any event. However, ICI says, had this fact become known to you before the date of audit report, it may have caused you to amend the audit report. Then in that case, you will discuss the matter with the management and TCWG. You will determine whether the financial statement need amendment, and if yes, how management is going to address this matter. If management amend the financial statement, then please carry out the procedure on those amendment unless the circumstances in succeeding para apply. Extend the audit procedure and provide a new audit report. What will you do? Client will make the adjustment. You will do the audit procedures on them. You will prepare a new audit report, give it to the client. Right? Management may not be required by the law or regulation to issue amended financial statement. Accordingly, you need not to provide the audit report. Let it be. However, when the management does not amend the financial statement and you believe that the amendment is needed, then in that case, if the auditor report, if your report is not already, I told you there can be two scenarios. The report can be in your computer, or it is already sent to the client. So if it is already in your computer, then you amend the audit report and send it to the client if they are not making the adjustment. If it is already provided to the entity, then notify the management and the TCWG not to issue that audit report to any other person. If, however, they do it, nevertheless, the financial statement issued by the client to the third party, then take appropriate action to prevent the reliance on such audit report. Yes, important. Case 2, case 3, all cases are important from the exam point of view. Case 3, financial statement are already issued to the public. But you consider, had this fact known to the auditor on the date of issue of audit report, it may have caused you to amend the audit report. Again, discuss the matter with them, determine whether the financial statement need amendment, and discuss with them how the management is going to carry out the procedure. If they amend the financial statement, carry out the audit procedure on the amended financial statement, issue the new audit report. But the problem here is, original audit report is already there and the original financial statement is already there with the public, no? Then ask management what are the steps you will take to make sure that the people are already informed, right? At the same time, please make sure that you extend, if you get the amended financial statement, you are performing audit procedure on them and you are issuing the amended financial statement, amended audit report on that amended financial statement. But here, the people will now, for the same financial year, people will get two audit report, two financial statement. So at least in the new audit report, use the emphasis of matter paragraph or other matter paragraph and extensively, refer to the note in the financial statement where the client has extensively discussed the reason for this amendment of the financial statement. So that people are like, okay, now we know why we are getting two audit reports back to back. Now two things will happen. Either management will not amend the financial statement or they will not take the necessary steps to inform the people. You take whatever action is there from your end to seek the prevent reliance on the previous audit report. If despite such notification, management and TCWG does not take necessary action, then please take appropriate action to prevent reliance on that audit report, whatever possible. Are we clear? All these three cases are important from the exam point of view. What do you say, guys? Can I take 570? You want to write case 2 and case 3 now?
Just 5 minutes, 2 minutes to just revise it.
Yeah, no problem. Please, please, please. Wait, I will write this answer like this. See, this is the case 2, write it properly. Like, I say material, very long sentences they have given. I have given in like not comparatively, in a simpler presentation. So you write case 2 and case 3 according to how I have written, right? So case 2, the facts that have become known to the auditor after the date of audit report, but before the date of issuance of financial statement. First step, auditor has no obligation to perform audit procedure regarding the financial statement after the date of audit report. Second point 2, however, the fact become known to the auditor. Had it been known to the auditor on the date of issue of audit report, he would have amended the audit report. AR means audit report. Point 1 done, everyone. Point 2. The point 2 over here says determine whether the financial statement needs amendment. It is written in Hindi, but you write determine whether the financial statement needs amendment. Are you on to the third point? Point 3 done, guys. Priya, Pooja, point 4.
Finish, ma'am.
Done? You all three of you? Priya? Okay, beautiful. Now, in case of in case 3, what did I tell you? That the first two procedure is going to be same. There is no obligation, and however the fact had come to known to your knowledge on the date of audit report, it would have caused you to amend the audit report. What will you do then? Discuss with the management and TCWG, determine whether the financial statement need amendment and ask them how they are going to address it. Until point 2, the answer is same, right? Even point 3, 3.1 and 3.2 will remain same. You will, if they give you the amended financial statement, you will have to extend the procedure and you will have to issue the new audit report. But there will be extra 3.3. What? Review the steps taken by the management to ensure that anyone who has received the audited financial statement along with the audit report is informed of the situation. Please write this extra point 3.3 over there. Third point will have a new addition. Second, you will in the amended audit report, you will include UM para. I have class after that. Which point are you guys writing? The last one?
Finished, ma'am.
Okay, finished. Okay. Pooja, you write just way too fast. Huh? I can't believe. Every time I look at Pooja and I like, is she not writing? But whenever I pick, like, I'm just looking at her, she's like always sitting like this. Is she not writing? And that's a very good skill. Huh? You will be able to, everyone who can, and I think all three of you managed to write very fast. You will see its benefit in the exam hall. Because when there is a subject like strategic management and audit, you should know how to learn, because you want to give so much to ICI. Now you will end up writing extra points only. It was like if 3 hours is given to you to write 50 marks SM paper, you will use entire 3 hours. So you have to learn to write fast. Done this, I have covered all the important part of 560. Now 570 is remaining. I think 570 I'll take along with your Q&A session tomorrow in the class itself, right? More, you see, even if you see my Hindi session, most of that discussion I do in the English. So please feel free. If you want me to repeat something in English, which I have not done that, please ask me. I will do that, because we have taken time from 10 in the morning till 6 in the evening, right? It's a good enough time. So like 6, 7, 8 hours approximately. So rest of the time today, try completing your other subjects so that when you come tomorrow, you don't feel overburdened because of the audit. It will not help. I'm telling you, don't study at all audit today, so that when you come tomorrow, you will still have the energy to grab more concept. Otherwise, when you study the whole night about this same subject, next day, whatever I'll say, you will not be able to pay attention to it. Avoid it. Right? Done? Then shall we guys meet tomorrow? At least revise whatever we have done from chapter 5. Like, whenever you get time tomorrow after the session. Okay? All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.